Nikhil Day, Mr. Rajeshwar Dayal, Mr. Colin Curry, Mrs. Sahai, chairpersons and speakers of today's seminar, distinguished participants, our friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this seminar on strengthening participatory democracy, role of RTI, organized by the International Center Goa, the Media Information and Communication Center of India, in collaboration with Friedrich Ebert Stiftung India. May I at the outset request our director, Mrs. Sahai, to kindly escort our honorable guests to light the traditional lamp. Some of the participants may also join us in lighting the lamp. I request Mr. Kenny to kindly Sahai to kindly escort the guests to the dais. As some of you may be aware, International Center, in association with MICC and FBS, organizes at least one seminar on RTI, which is part of the series of our seminars on participatory democracy. To tell us more about this seminar and the theme of this seminar, I would like to now request our director, Mrs. Nandini Sahai, who is also honorary director of the Media Information and Communication Center.
Very good morning to all of you. Aruna Roy, Nikhil Day, Colin Curry, Mr. Rajeshwar Dayal, and dear participants. On behalf of the International Center Goa and Media Information and Communication Center of India, a warm welcome to this two-day seminar on strengthening participatory democracy, role of RTI. It's my great pleasure to introduce Ms. Aruna Roy of NAC and NCPRI and Mr. Nikhil Day of NCPRI, who kindly accepted our invitation and took time out from their very busy schedule to be here with us today. I must mention here that it has been my great privilege to have been associated with Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan MKSS, Aruna Roy and Nikhil Day for the last, 18 years or so. I have seen them and their dedicated teams sit on hunger strikes, take long padyatras, perform puppet shows, songs and Khotala Rath Yatras, all in the scorching heat of Rajasthan, to motivate people to fight for their rights and to start asking questions from the government. And how they responded. If anything, this RTI Act is the result of all the blood and sweat of the MKSS and the grassroots people of Rajasthan. Aruna is also a Raman Magsaysay awardee for community leadership in 2000 and member National Advisory Council. Nikhil, since 1990, has been a full-time worker with the MKSS and the national and state campaigns of people's organizations, taking responsibility for putting together people's drafts on the right to information and employment guarantee bills. Both the Right to Information and the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, passed in 2005, have strong elements of people's entitlements which owe their origin to people's formulations during their campaigns. May we please give them a resounding standing ovation. I don't think there is any need to tell you all about the importance of our right to information. This is the most powerful tool that has been given to the common man in independent India to ask for accountability and transparency from the government. RTI Act is a milestone in the democracy of India, as it has tried to build a new institutional mechanism for ensuring transparency and accountability in the functioning of public institutions. RTI Act has set in motion a paradigm shift from the yesteryear governance, which was under the veil of the Official Secrets Act 1923, to open a transparent government. In the process, it has also marked a shift in citizen-government relationship in democratic India, where citizens have got the right to ask for information from the government, and government has been given responsibility to willingly share information. Former Chief Justice of India, J.S. Verma, said that right to information is a vital tool for transparency and accountability and good governance. If there is no transparency, accountability cannot be fixed. In our own small way, ICG and Mickey have tried to create as much awareness about this act as possible. The topics which we have taken up this year are also like RTI and good governance, major challenges facing RTI and RTI activists, need for Whistleblowers Act, role of media and NGOs in promoting RTI, followed by an open forum for suggestions and recommendations. Effective implementation of the Act also requires shift in behavior of both the citizens and the government. While citizens need to develop the habit of asking for information and owning up the responsibility of asking clear and precise questions, the government officials need to develop the habit of providing the information voluntarily. However, the officials of the public institutions are finding it difficult to make the shift. As a result, appeals and complaints of the Information Commission are piling up in thousands, and media is flooded with the stories of denial of information. Just recently, a special task force set up by the government to ensure effective implementation of RTI has sought protection for whistleblowers. It has asked the government to frame laws and devise mechanisms to protect RTI activists across the country. In fact, it's in today's paper at the 6th Annual Convention of Information Commissioners yesterday, the Prime Minister, Mr. Manmohan Singh, said, and I'm sure you must have read it in the papers today, but those of you who haven't, I'll just quote. He made some relevant points regarding the RTI Act, and he also reiterated this whole thing about the Whistleblowers Act coming into force. And I quote him. He says, "We wish to make the RTI, the right to information, an even more effective instrument for ensuring transparency and accountability in administration. I would like to mention here our initiative to enact a legislation for the protection of whistleblowers, which would further strengthen the right to information. We expect this law to be enacted in the next few months, and it would, among other things, help in prevention of violence against those who seek to expose wrongdoings in our public and administration." The Prime Minister further stated that we must also take a critical look at the exemption clauses in the Right to Information Act to determine whether they serve the larger good and whether a change is needed in them. A decreasing trend is also evident in the percentage of requests in which appeals and complaints are filed with the Commission. The Commission, through its decisions from time to time, has laid down principles for disclosure of various classes of information which were not considered fit for disclosure thus far. All this indicates that public authorities today are more open and more sensitive to concerns voiced in the Act, and they are better prepared to respond to citizens' requests for information. They must endeavor to voluntarily put information in the public domain without waiting for applications from information seekers. We've been saying that also in all our various seminars. If this is done, a lot of time will be saved both for public authorities as well as for citizens. A major challenge for public authorities in our country lies in the area of information housekeeping. I'm just quoting him again. With the improvement in data management practices through computerization of records and workflows, the time may not be far when citizens may locate on their own the status of their requests in the workflow artery of public authorities. The RTI Act itself mandates such disclosure and record management. The National E-Governance Plan, I hope, he says, would go a long way in promoting the use of information and communication technologies and facilitating access to information. End of quote. I would like to mention again that right to information will not be effective at the moment. It's not what he says, what I'm saying. And I would like to mention here that it will not be effective until and unless each and every person has knowledge of this law and are empowered to use the same. Our past experience shows that a number of development projects and welfare programs of the states fail to yield the desired result only because of lack of people's participation. And this was largely due to their ignorance about the programs undertaken for their upliftment. So public awareness campaigns about the importance of people's right to access government-held information and its application among the people is very important. Let us please exercise our right to question and not take things for granted. Before I end, I would like to sincerely thank Mr. Rajesh Vyal of RTS India for supporting us in organizing this seminar, Aruna and Nikhil for taking time out from their very busy schedule to be here with us today, Mr. Kenny also, who has agreed to come here today with his members of his commission, and to all of you who have spared your valuable time to be here with us today. Thank you very much.
As I mentioned a little while ago, we have been organizing series of seminars in partnership with British Ebert Stiftung. This seminar also is part of that series, which is on strengthening participatory democracy. I would now like to request Mr. Rajeshwar Daya, Senior Advisor of British Ebert Stiftung India Office, to make his remarks.
Honorable Mrs. Aruna Royalty, Mr. Nikhil Dey, Mr. Nandini Sahai, Mr. Colin Curry, and distinguished participants. Let me first of all extend a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of my organization, British Ebert Stiftung. And thank you, Arjun, you are the only one who pronounced this very correctly. Well, very briefly, for those who do not know about this foundation, it's a German foundation wedded to the cause of social democracy. And they have their offices in about 100 countries across the globe and working in 120 countries. The major areas of their activities include strengthening democracy, peace, and social justice. Now, this series of seminars, Participatory Democracy, is a part of strengthening democracy. Well, my friends, we all know that this is the most revolutionary act that has been passed since independence in India. And we are very, very fortunate today that the chief architects of this Right to Information Act are with us today, Aruna Royalty and Mr. Nikhil Dey. I think the MKSS came into being in 1987, if I'm not wrong. And since then they have been working on this issue. And we are very fortunate that we have this act today with us. It has been 6 years. And we have achieved a lot. I would very briefly like to quote a study here, basically, which is slightly old. I mean, it was commissioned in 2009 by Department of Personnel Training, and the study was carried out by Pricewaterhouse. It basically talks about achievements of RTI Act in its first 4 years and what are the problems. Very briefly, I'll just quote some of these things so that probably we can discuss those things in this today's seminar. The report says regarding the achievements that the basic tenets of the Act have been implemented and the institutional mechanism is in place and is in use by citizens. The institution of Information Commission has assumed a pivotal position. These are the achievements. Civil society organizations have been and continue to be active in ensuring the implementation of the Act in letter and spirit. Civil society organizations and media have started using the Act for bringing in transparency and objectivity. Center and state government departments have initiated the training of key functionaries to assume the responsibilities of PIOs and FAs. Government employee public authorities are aware of the basic elements of the Act. And various state governments have taken up initiatives which go beyond the stipulations of the Act and further the spirit of the Act. Well, these are very significant achievements, but then they also point out certain problems related to this Act. Regarding the awareness, the study reveals that only 13% of the rural population and 33% in urban population were aware of RTI Act. And only 12% of the women and 26% of the men are aware of RTI Act. This is a highly inadequate level of awareness regarding the Act itself. From the information seeker's point of view, there are a few things which the study points out. One is, submission at the PIO office is the most prevalent channel. However, 26% of the citizens had to pay more than 3 visits to submit applications, and 47% said no signboards were present to help them with the process. Lack of updated list of PIOs, which leads to citizens' inconvenience. I mean, there are provisions made in the Act regarding all these things, but these are things which are lacking. The payment of cash is the most prevalent channel. However, it was the inherent limitation of requiring the applicant to be present physically, whereas the Act, as per the Act, there is no such restriction. approximately 89% of the PIOs were not using the provision of inspection of records by citizens, which led to delay in providing information. And finally, over 75% of the information seekers were dissatisfied with the quality of information provided. The study further points out about the problems relating to information providers. And it says